So the FDA approval for selinexor is anticipated this summer, and it is likely to be approved for relapsed or refractory diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. The treatment landscape for diffuse large B-cell lymphoma is changing now that we have CAR T cells. It's important to note that although a proportion of patients with CAR T cells can be maybe cured, as I mentioned previously, with this therapy, upwards of 60% or more of the patients will not enter durable remission and will relapse. For those patients, there are currently limited treatment options. Polatuzumab vedotin is a treatment option for those patients in combination with bendamustine rituximab, which is approved in this setting. And it's anticipated that selinexor will also be approved in this setting as well.
This is a novel agent that can be used as a single agent in third-line therapy, as I mentioned, just approved. And but I think that the real, although it's usable, the real benefit will be when we start to combine this with other agents, and hopefully to have a better disease control.
In my personal opinion, what I look more is about efficacy, how efficacious is a drug or a regimen. So on patients with DLBCL, what I typically do is I ask them what are their goals. If your goals are to cure the disease or to maintain the disease in some type of remission, but no cure. If they want to achieve the cure and they're healthy enough to do it, and they don't have a lot of significant comorbidities, I offer what is a standard of care, which is CAR T-cell therapy. So that's the main thing. And I would say with all the CAR T-cell products available, essentially majority of patients could get CAR T-cell therapy. Age is not a limitation. Our oldest patient was 84 years old. He was in good shape, but he was able to get treated, and he's in remission. So I think as a physician, we have to offer what is the best care and best option, which is a curative option. If a patient prefers not to undergo CAR T-cell therapy, not only because fearing of the side effects, but also because of the logistics, traveling, leaving home, staying in a different place than theirs. So that's definitely a good and a deciding factor to pursue CAR T-cell therapy. So in those cases in which CAR T-cell is not possible for all these reasons, patient is too weak, too sick, or logistic reasons and cost reasons, then oral agents such as selinexor play a role. But also other agents that can be given or can be given closer to home, like monoclonal antibodies like tafasitamab or polatuzumab. So those options are viable options in the community. When you have all these viable options, so you have to choose the option that is more efficacious, but at the same time less toxic. As I mentioned before, the monoclonal antibodies are used commonly by oncologists or community oncologists, so they're familiar with it. So I wouldn't see a problem in using tafasitamab, or they're already using polatuzumab. So there are options for those patients. They know how to use them. Selinexor is a novel agent, so you have to try and learn how to manage the side effects. And also the activity is modest. So there is, I don't deny there is activity, but it's not probably the greatest activity. The clinical activity, if you compare to DLBCL, if you compare to tafasitamab with lenalidomide or polatuzumab, bendamustine rituximab. So I know finally, the other aspect is that maintenance of an IV line. So so far, selinexor is the only oral agent approved for diffuse large lymphoma in the relapsed refractory setting as a single agent. So that's definitely convenient because patients just take one pill. But again, it's probably the less important factor in my opinion.
So one of the things that has come up obviously recently, one of the concerns is that we're experiencing the global pandemic of COVID-19. This has led to some concern for intensive treatment regimens that are highly immunosuppressive, including autologous stem cell transplantation and potentially CAR T-cell therapy. In my mind, the risks and benefits of using immunosuppressive therapy have to be weighed against the risk of infections, including COVID-19. But for a treatment or for a disease such as relapsed diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, I think the benefits of the therapies that we discussed, including transplant and CAR T, still outweigh those risks. There may be patients who are presented with the option of continuing to receive IV therapy as opposed to an oral agent like selinexor that can be taken at home. And it's possible that an oral agent may be safer because of the less risk or less exposure to the patient, but it also has to be taken into account that some of these agents may cause neutropenia, and even if they're oral, and that can predispose patients to infection.